Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March the 2nd. March 2 is the 61st day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, except for leap years when it's the 62nd day. And there are 304 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is Crusoe. In this context, is used as a noun to mean a castaway or a person who is isolated or without companionship. As a verb, it can mean to be marooned, to survive or manage through one's ingenuity without outside help. And of course, this word is named after the title character of Daniel Defoe's 1719 novel, Robinson Crusoe. Crusoe was a shipwrecked sailor who spent 28 years on a remote desert island, and the earliest documented use of the word Crusoe as we're using it is 1888. Crusoe's aid has also become an eponym in the English language, Man Friday. I'd like to pause for a moment and remind you that links to my research are included in the show notes. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay to the end for the outtakes, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, you can share this video with others. You could put a link in an email or a message or post it on your social media. And with that, let's start in 1776 with a little early American Revolutionary War news. March the 2nd of 1776 marks the beginning of the Siege of Boston, when General George Washington ordered American artillery forces to begin bombarding Boston. The ultimate result of this was that the British realized their position was indefensible, and they scooted right on out of there. Took them a few days, but they did skedaddle. This is the birthday of American soldier and politician Sam Houston. Significant to the history of Texas, Sam was born on March 2nd, 1793, and he was the first president of the Republic of Texas. The city of Houston is named after him. He lived to the age of 70. On March 2nd, 1797, the Bank of England issued the first 1 and 2 pound banknotes. On March 2nd of 1807, Congress passed an act to prohibit the importation of slaves into any port or place within the jurisdiction of the United States from any foreign kingdom, place, or country, thereby abolishing African slave trade in the United States. On March 2nd, 1836, Texas declared independence from Mexico. On March 2nd, 1882, Queen Victoria narrowly escaped an assassination attempt by Roderick McLean in Windsor. On March 2nd, 1901, the United States Steel Corporation was founded as a result of a merger between Carnegie Steel Company and Federal Steel Company. United States Steel then went on to become the first corporation in the world with a market capital of over $1 billion. That's billion with a B. March 2nd, 1902 is the birthday of American baseball player and spy, Moe Berg. He was extremely intelligent. He spoke several languages and regularly read 10 newspapers a day. He lived to the age of 70, Moe Berg. This is the birthday of Theodore Geisel. He was born on March 2, 1904. He's better known as Dr. Seuss. He wrote more than 60 books, most of them under the nom de plume of Dr. Seuss. He did have other pen names as well, though. His books have sold over 600 million copies and been translated into more than 20 languages. He lived to the age of 87. On March 2nd, 1917, President Woodrow Wilson signed the Jones-Shafroth Act, granting U.S. citizenship to the inhabitants of Puerto Rico. This is the birthday of Cuban-American actor, singer, and producer Desi Arnaz, born March 2, 1917. He's best known as the husband of Lucille Ball. He lived to the age of 69. And my goodness, the things you find out when you're researching this day in history. March 2nd, 1931 is the birthday of Russian lawyer and politician and former president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, or Gorbachev, or Gorby. I don't know how many people call him Gorby. I've heard that though. Mikhail Gorbachev turns 90 in 2021. Happy birthday, Gorby. March 2nd, 1933, the movie King Kong opened at New York's Radio City Music Hall. Come here, Annie. Come here. She's a little restless because the yard guys were just here. Lay down, sweetie. This is the birthday of American singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actor Lou Reed, born March 2nd, 1942. I particularly remember him for his song Walk on the Wild Side. He lived to the age of 71. This is the birthday of American singer Karen Carpenter, born March 2nd, 1950. What a beautiful voice she had. Unfortunately, she only lived to the age of 32, succumbing to the ravages of an eating disorder, most likely anorexia nervosa. On March 2nd, 1962, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, breaking his own record of 78 points that he had scored earlier in the season. March the 2nd of 1962 is the birthday of American singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, and actor Jon Bonjovi. Still alive, Jon Bonjovi turns 59 in 2021. On March 2nd, 1966, Ford celebrated the production of its 1 millionth Mustang. Ride, Sally, ride. On March 2nd, 1967, Senator Bobby Kennedy proposed a 3-point plan to help end the Vietnam War. Then Secretary of State Dean Rusk blew the idea off because he felt the North Vietnamese would never go along with it. On March 2nd, 1972, Pioneer 10 was launched from Cape Canaveral. This was a mission to Jupiter, the world's first outer planetary probe. On March 2nd, 1978, grave robbers stole Charlie Chaplin's body. Good grief. They demanded a ransom of somewhere in the neighborhood of $600,000. Chaplin's widow, Una, refused to pay. The body snatchers then tried to threaten some of her children, but law enforcement was on the job and they were able to make some arrests. The body was recovered and the Chaplin family reburied his body in a concrete grave to prevent future theft attempts. By golly, on March the 2nd, 1995, Yahoo was incorporated. March the 2nd has been a very busy day for birthdays throughout the years. I recognized a few, but there were a lot more birthdays in there. So happy birthday to all the rest. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others. I guess that's about all, so thanks. I'll see you next time. Alrighty. Yeah, those are my guys. They're going to be making noise here in a minute. We had a brief interruption while the yard guys mowed. So many mistakes. Say that again. I'm going to have to look that up right quick. We're not going to go into all that. Okay. I don't know how all that's going to go together or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.